A billionaire CEO stands over a janitor mopping her floors, laughing at the man she thinks is nothing. But when fire erupts and his sleeve tears away, she sees a tattoo that stops her heart. Wings of Valor. The same tattoo that marked the pilot who once saved her father's life. The same hero who vanished without a trace. The man she just humiliated is the legend everyone thought was dead. Before we dive into this incredible story, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss stories like this. And drop a comment telling me what city you're watching from. I want to see how far this story reaches across the world. Now let's begin. Dreams like that cost more than your life will ever touch. Those words came from Veronica Pierce's mouth, aimed at an 8-year-old girl, and the janitor who heard them felt something snap inside his chest. Something he'd kept buried for 3 years. But let's start where this really begins. 4:30 in the morning. Ethan Cole woke up before his alarm. Always did. Air Force training sticks with you even when everything else falls apart. He reached over and turned it off before it could buzz. The apartment was dark, quiet, cold. He sat on the edge of the bed and looked at the photo on the nightstand. Sarah, his wife, smiling in her nurse's scrubs holding baby Leia. The photo was 6 years old. Sarah had been gone for 3. "Morning, baby," he whispered to the photo. Same thing he said every morning. The photo didn't answer. It never did. He stood up. His left knee complained immediately. The pins and screws from the crash. Doctors said he was lucky to walk. Lucky. Right. In the bathroom, he avoided the mirror at first. When he finally looked, a tired man stared back. 42, but looking older. Lines around his eyes. Gray showing at his temples. This wasn't who he used to be. He turned on the water. Cold. The hot water heater was broken again. 3rd time this month. He couldn't afford to replace it. Not on a janitor's salary. Not with Leia's school expenses and the medical bills still coming. He washed his face fast and reached for his shirt. Long sleeves, always long sleeves. The tattoo on his left forearm couldn't show. Not here. Not ever. But this morning he paused. Looked at it. Wings of Valor. An eagle clutching a shield. Below it coordinates. 34.0522 degree. N 118.2437 degree WW. The place where everything changed. Where 17 people lived because he didn't. He traced the ink with his finger. Some mornings it felt like the tattoo was the only real thing left. Everything else was just surviving. Dad. He yanked his sleeve down. Leia stood in the doorway wearing her purple pajamas with the stars on them. Sarah had bought those pajamas. They were getting small now. "Hey, kiddo. Bad dream." "No, I heard the water." "Sorry, didn't mean to wake you." "It's okay." She rubbed her eyes. "Can we have the special breakfast chocolate chip pancakes? Sarah used to make them every Wednesday. After she died, Ethan kept the tradition alive. Some things you don't let go." "You got it." In the kitchen, Leia climbed onto her chair at the wobbly table. Ethan had been meaning to fix that leg for 6 months. Add it to the list. "Dad, is it okay if I come to work with you today?" "After school." He cracked eggs into a bowl. "You have homework." "I'll bring it. I'll be quiet. I promise." "Leia. Please, I want to see the planes." There it was. The thing that made him ache. His daughter loved flying the same way he used to. She drew planes constantly, read books about aerodynamics, asked questions about thrust ratios and wind resistance. 8 years old and already smarter than half the engineers at Vanguard. Sarah used to say Leia had his eyes and his stubborn streak. She was right about both. "All right, but you stay in the break room. You do your homework. You don't wander." "I won't, thank you." She jumped up and hugged him. He held her tight. This little person was everything. The only good thing left from the wreckage of his old life. "Now sit down and eat your pancakes." They ate together. Leia talked about school and her friend Emma and some art project. Ethan listened, really listened, because these mornings were all he had. Mrs. Chen says I'm the best artist in class, Laya said. She wants to enter my plain drawing in the district competition. That's great, kiddo. Do you think I'm good enough? I think you're amazing. Mom would have liked my drawings right. Ethan's throat tightened. She would have loved them. She'd be so proud of you. Leia smiled. I miss her. Me too, baby. Every day. At 6:15, Ethan dropped Leia at before-school care. She kissed his cheek and ran inside with her backpack bouncing. He watched until she disappeared through the doors. Then he drove to Vanguard Aerospace. The facility sprawled across 12 acres of industrial buildings and hangars. Ethan parked in the employee lot, grabbed his lunch bag, and headed for the service entrance. The fancy front doors were for executives and engineers. People like him used the side entrance by the loading dock. Inside, he punched his time card. 6:43, 17 minutes early. He was always early. Cole. Jenkins, the shift supervisor, stood by the assignment board. Mid-50s, thinning hair, always looked stressed. Morning. You're on Hangar 3 today. Pentagon brass coming at 2 for a demonstration. Floors need to shine. Got it. And Cole. Keep your head down. New CEO's been firing people left and right. Anyone she thinks isn't pulling weight. Ethan nodded. He'd heard the rumors. Veronica Pierce had taken over 6 months ago when her father died. Since then, she'd cut staff by 20%. People walked on eggshells. I'll stay out of her way, Ethan said. Good man. He headed to the supply closet, grabbed his cart, and pushed it toward Hangar 3. Other workers passed him in the halls. Most didn't make eye contact. Janitors were invisible. You learned that fast. In Hangar 3, the morning shift engineers were already at work. 30 people in white coats moving around the XJ-7 prototype like priests around an altar. The fighter jet gleamed behind protective glass. Sleek. Deadly. Beautiful. Ethan had flown jets like that. Different models, different wars, but the same basic idea. Put a man in a metal bird and send him into the sky to do impossible things. He started mopping near the east wall. Hydraulic fluid had leaked overnight. The stain was set in deep. He'd need solvent. Did you hear Pierce fired another engineer yesterday? 2 technicians stood near the water cooler. They didn't notice Ethan 20 feet away. Invisible. What was his crime? The first tech asked. Disagreed with her in a meeting. Said her timeline was unrealistic. Jesus. She's worse than her father. Her father was tough but fair. She's just mean. My wife says I should start looking for other jobs. Everyone's looking, but where else are we going to work? This is the only aerospace contractor in 3 counties. They walked away, still talking. Ethan kept mopping. It wasn't his business. He was just the janitor. At 9:30, he heard heels clicking on concrete. Sharp, fast clicks. Everyone in the hangar straightened up. That sound meant Veronica Pierce was coming. She swept in with 3 assistants trailing behind her. All young, all terrified, all carrying tablets. Veronica wore a gray suit that probably cost 3 months of Ethan's salary. Her blonde hair was pulled back so tight it looked painful. Status report, she snapped at Dr. Chen, the lead engineer. Dr. Chen hurried over. We're on schedule for the demonstration. All systems checked and ready. Not good enough. We need to be perfect. Pentagon sending General Marks. He has final approval on the contract. We will be perfect, Ms. Pierce. For your sake, I hope so. Her eyes swept the hangar and landed on Ethan. You. What are you doing? Ethan stopped mopping. Cleaning the floor, ma'am. Well, do it somewhere else. You're blocking the view of the prototype. He glanced behind him. He was at least 15 feet from the display, but he wasn't going to argue. Yes, ma'am. He moved his cart toward the south wall. Veronica watched him go, then turned back to Dr. Chen. I want updates every hour. No mistakes. Understood. Understood. She left the same way she came. Fast, loud, leaving tension in her wake. One of the younger engineers exhaled. How did her father ever produce someone like that? An older woman, Lisa from accounting, shook her head. Richard Pierce was a good man. Built this company from nothing. Treated employees like family. His daughter treats us like servants. Someone should tell her how her father really was. And get fired. No thanks. Ethan kept cleaning. But he thought about Richard Pierce. He'd only met the man once years ago. Before the crash. Before everything fell apart. It was at a military event. Some ceremony honoring civilian contractors who supported the armed forces. Richard had shaken Ethan's hand and said, "Thank you for your service, son. People like you are why we do what we do." A good man. Lisa was right about that. At 11:45, Ethan took his lunch break. He sat in the back corner of the break room with his sandwich and thermos of coffee. The coffee was lukewarm. He drank it anyway. His phone buzzed. A text from the school. Reminder: Leia's art supplies fee due Friday. $47. $47. He had $23 in his checking account until payday on Tuesday. He'd have to ask if they could wait. Another buzz. A voicemail from the landlord. Mr. Cole, rent was due yesterday. Please call me. His rent was $600. He had $425 after this paycheck. He'd been short before. Mrs. Chen, his landlord, usually gave him a week. But she was getting impatient. He put the phone away. No point worrying. He'd figure it out. He always did. At noon, an old man walked into the break room. White hair, sharp eyes, wearing civilian contractor credentials. Marcus Hale. Ethan had seen him around, but they'd never spoken. Marcus got coffee from the machine and sat down at Ethan's table. Mind if I sit? Free country. Marcus smiled. Marcus Hale. I consult on engine design. Ethan Cole. I know who you are. Something in Marcus's tone made Ethan look up. You're the janitor, Marcus continued. Been here about 3 years. Keep to yourself. Don't cause trouble. That's me. You also move like a soldier, stand like a pilot, and you have a tattoo on your left arm that you keep covered. Ethan's blood went cold. I don't know what you're talking about. Wings of Valor, special operations insignia, only given to pilots in classified missions. You're mistaken. Am I? Marcus leaned forward. I was Air Force myself, 30 years. I knew a pilot once. Ethan Cole from Valor Squadron. Saved 17 lives in a mission that never officially happened. They wanted to give him the Medal of Honor. He disappeared before the ceremony. Ethan's heart hammered. That's a nice story. The official photo is blurry, taken from far away during the rescue, but the tattoo shows clear. Marcus gestured at Ethan's covered arm. Want to tell me I'm wrong? For a long moment, neither spoke. The break room was empty except for them. On the wall, a clock ticked. Why does it matter? Ethan finally asked. Because you're better than this. Better than being invisible. I have a daughter to feed. Bills to pay. This job does that. There are other jobs. Not for washed-up pilots with medical discharges and bad knees. Ethan met Marcus's eyes. That man you're talking about, he died in a crash 3 years ago. I'm just the janitor now. Marcus studied him. Your choice. But if you ever need anything, find me. Why would you help me? Because I was at that ceremony. I saw what you did. And I saw you refuse the medal because you said the real heroes were the people you saved. That kind of character doesn't disappear just because you mop floors. Marcus stood up and left. Ethan sat alone staring at his half-eaten sandwich. His arm itched where the tattoo was. Some ghosts don't stay buried. At 2:45, Leia showed up. She came through the employee entrance with her backpack and her smile. Ethan was in the break room when she arrived. Dad. Hey kiddo, how was school? Amazing. We learned about Bernoulli's principle. It's how wings create lift. The air moves faster over the curved top than the flat bottom, so there's lower pressure on top and higher pressure on bottom, and that pushes the wing up. Isn't that cool? His daughter, explaining aerodynamics like other kids, talked about cartoons. That's exactly right. Can you show me a real wing later? We'll see. Right now, homework. Remember the rules. Stay in the break room. Don't touch anything. Be invisible like you. She said it without bitterness, like it was just a fact of life. That hurt worse than if she'd complained. Good girl. I'll be back in an hour. He went back to work. Hangar 3 was packed now. Military personnel in dress uniforms, executives in suits. The Pentagon demonstration was starting. Ethan stayed on the edges, emptying trash cans, wiping down surfaces. Invisible. General Marks stood with Veronica in front of the XJ-7. Impressive specs, Ms. Pierce. Thank you, General. This engine represents a 30% increase in fuel efficiency over current models. Revolutionary technology. Developed entirely in-house by our expert team of engineers. Veronica gestured at Dr. Chen. Dr. Chen led the project. Dr. Chen smiled nervously. We're very proud of the work. Let's see it in action, the general said. Veronica nodded at Dr. Chen. Fire it up. Dr. Chen moved to the control panel with 2 other engineers. They started the ignition sequence. The engine hummed to life. Ethan watched from 30 feet away. He couldn't help himself. Engines still fascinated him. The controlled explosion. The beautiful violence of thrust. But something was wrong. The pitch was off. Too high. And the pressure readings on the visible monitor were climbing fast. Too fast. His eyes scanned the setup. There. The fuel mixture valve. Line 3. It was installed backwards. The flow direction was reversed. His stomach dropped. If they increased throttle with that valve reversed, the pressure would spike. The engine would overheat. At this range, with this crowd, an explosion would kill everyone in a 20-foot radius. He looked around. Nobody else saw it. They were all watching the readings, nodding, smiling. Dr. Chen reached for the throttle control. Ethan dropped his trash bag. Stop! His voice cut through the hangar. Shut it down now. Everyone turned. 30 faces. All looking at the janitor who just interrupted a Pentagon demonstration. Veronica's face went purple. What did you just say? Shut down the engine. The fuel valve is reversed. Security! Veronica shouted. Remove this man immediately. 2 guards started toward Ethan, but Marcus Hale stepped forward. Wait! Marcus looked at Ethan. What valve? Fuel mixture. Line 3. Look at the installation. The flow arrow points the wrong direction. Dr. Chen frowned. He pulled up the schematic on his tablet. His face went white. Oh my God. The hangar went silent. Shut it down, Marcus said quietly. Right now. Dr. Chen's hands shook as he killed the power. The engine wound down. The pressure readings dropped. The general stepped closer to the engine setup. Is he right? Dr. Chen nodded, unable to speak. If we'd increased throttle, catastrophic failure, possible explosion. The general turned to look at Ethan. Really look at him. Who are you? Nobody, sir. Just the janitor. The janitor. The general glanced at Veronica. Your janitor just saved this demonstration from becoming a disaster. Possibly saved lives. Veronica's hands clenched into fists. Her face was still purple, but now it was from humiliation. Everyone in the hangar was staring at her. The CEO who almost killed a general because she didn't check her own engineer's work. She turned to Ethan. Her eyes were cold, hard, full of something that looked like hate. Thank you for your observation, she said. Each word sounded forced. You may go. Ethan picked up his trash bag and walked away. Behind him, voices erupted. The general demanding explanations. Veronica blaming Dr. Chen. Engineers scrambling to fix the valve. But Ethan kept walking, out of the hangar, into the hallway. His hands were shaking, not from fear, from adrenaline, from being useful, from mattering. It felt good. It felt dangerous. In the supply closet, he leaned against the wall and tried to breathe. His knee throbbed. His heart raced. The tattoo on his arm seemed to burn through his sleeve. That was something. Marcus stood in the doorway. "I didn't want to," Ethan said. "I tried to stay quiet." "You saved lives, again. I endangered my job." "Your job," Marcus laughed. "Ethan, you just humiliated Veronica Pierce in front of the Pentagon. She's going to fire you. You know that, right? I have a daughter." "I know. And that's why you need to stop hiding. People like you with your skills, your knowledge, you could do so much more than mop floors." "I tried that. It ended with me in a hospital and my wife in a grave." The words came out harsher than he meant. Marcus's face softened. "I'm sorry. I didn't know about your wife." "Nobody does. Nobody asks janitors about their lives." "Then let me ask now. What happened?" Ethan closed his eyes. He was so tired. Tired of hiding. Tired of being invisible. Tired of the weight of 3 years pressing down on him. "The crash," he said quietly. "The one that ended my career. It was a training exercise that went wrong. Equipment failure. I brought the jet down in a residential area to avoid hitting houses. But the landing was rough. I broke my leg, my knee, 3 ribs, got a concussion. I was in the hospital for 2 months. And your wife? Sarah was a nurse. She worked nights to support us while I was recovering. Drove home exhausted one morning and fell asleep at the wheel. Hit a tree going 50 miles an hour. His voice cracked. She died instantly. While I was lying in a hospital bed feeling sorry for myself, she was working herself to death to pay our bills. And I never even thanked her properly." Marcus was quiet for a moment. "That wasn't your fault. Wasn't it if I hadn't crashed? If I hadn't refused the medal and the promotion? If I'd just been a normal pilot instead of trying to be a hero?" "Stop." Marcus's voice was firm. "You saved 17 lives that day. You're a hero whether you like it or not. And your wife's death was a tragedy, but it wasn't your fault. Life is cruel sometimes, but you're still here. Your daughter is still here. And hiding from who you are won't bring Sarah back." Ethan opened his eyes. "What do you want from me?" "Nothing. I just want you to know that when you're ready to stop being invisible, I'll help you." Marcus left. Ethan stood in the supply closet alone. His knee hurt. His head hurt. Everything hurt. But Marcus was right about one thing. Hiding wouldn't bring Sarah back. He pushed off the wall and went to find Leia. She was in the break room surrounded by papers, math homework, but next to it a sketch pad. She'd been drawing. The XJ7. Perfect detail. Every line, every curve. She had his eyes for mechanics and Sarah's gift for art. "Hey kiddo, ready to go?" "All ready, but you said I could stay until 5. "Change of plans." "Did something happen?" "Nothing for you to worry about." They walked toward the exit together. Leia held his hand and talked about her homework. Ethan tried to listen, but his mind was elsewhere. Would he still have a job tomorrow? Would Veronica fire him? How would he pay rent? How would he... "Dad, look." Leia pulled free and ran toward the main corridor. Before Ethan could stop her, she turned a corner. "Leia, wait." He chased after her, his bad knee screaming in protest. She'd stopped in front of a display wall. Blueprint diagrams of various aircraft. She stood there mesmerized, her face pressed close to the glass. "Dad, these are so cool. Look at the wing configuration on this one. It's like nothing I've ever..." "Young lady." Veronica Pierce stood 10 feet away. She'd changed into a different suit. Black this time. Her face was still tight with anger from the demonstration. She walked toward Leia slowly, deliberately. What are you doing? Leia stepped back from the display. I was just looking. I didn't touch anything. This area is restricted. I'm sorry I didn't know. Do you know what these documents are worth? Each blueprint on this wall represents millions of dollars in research. Ethan arrived out of breath. She's with me. She didn't mean any harm. Veronica turned those cold eyes on him. The janitor, again. Tell me, do you make a habit of letting your child run wild in restricted areas? She didn't run wild. She walked 30 feet to look at pictures. These aren't pictures. These are classified documents. She's 8 years old. She doesn't know what classified means. Then perhaps you should teach her boundaries. Veronica looked down at Leia. What's your name? Leia. Her voice was small now, scared. Leia, do you like airplanes? Yes, ma'am. And you want to be a pilot someday? Yes, ma'am. More than anything. Veronica smiled. It wasn't a kind smile. Let me tell you something, Leia. People like you don't become pilots. Do you know why? Leia shook her head. Because dreams like that cost money. Real money. Flight school costs hundreds of thousands of dollars. Your father mops my floors for minimum wage. By the time you're old enough for college, he'll still be mopping my floors. You'll be lucky to afford community college, let alone flight school. She leaned down. Dreams like that cost more than your life will ever touch. The words hit like bullets. Ethan saw his daughter's face crumple, saw her eyes fill with tears, saw her whole world shatter. That's enough, Ethan said. His voice was quiet, dangerous. Excuse me? You made your point. She's a child. Leave her alone. I'll do whatever I want in my own company. Your father built this company on the idea that everyone deserves a chance to dream. I guess you didn't inherit that from him. Veronica's face went red. How dare you? Come on, Leia. Ethan took his daughter's hand. We're leaving. You're fired, Veronica said. Ethan stopped. Effective immediately, she continued. Security will escort you out. Mom! Leia was crying now. Full sobs. Don't fire him. Please, it was my fault. I'm the one who looked at the pictures. Veronica ignored her. Security. 2 guards appeared. They looked uncomfortable. Ms. Pierce, one of them said, is this really necessary? Are you questioning me? No, ma'am. But he did just save the demonstration. I don't care what he did. I want him gone. The guards looked at Ethan. Sir, we need you to come with us. Ethan knelt down next to Leia. She was sobbing into her hands. He pulled her close. It's okay, baby. It's going to be okay. It's not. She fired you because of me. This isn't because of you. This has nothing to do with you. But I looked at the pictures. You did nothing wrong. You hear me, nothing. He pulled back and looked at her face, tears streaming down her cheeks, nose running, heartbroken. You are brilliant and talented, and you're going to do amazing things. Don't ever let anyone tell you that your dreams are too big. But flight school costs. We'll figure it out. We always do. He stood up. The guards waited. The hallway had filled with people now, employees watching, some filming on their phones. Veronica stood with her arms crossed, looking satisfied. Ethan walked past her toward the exit. The guards followed. Leia held his hand and cried. But at the door, Ethan stopped. He turned back. You know what your father told me once, he said to Veronica. He said the real measure of a company isn't profit. It's how you treat people when no one's watching. He said character matters more than capability. My father was weak, Veronica said. That's why this company was failing when I took over. Your father was a good man, and you're proving you're nothing like him. He walked out. Behind him, the whispers started. Phones kept filming. And somewhere in that crowd, Marcus Hale smiled. That night after Leia was asleep, Ethan sat at the wobbly kitchen table. His phone buzzed. Texts from coworkers. Man, that was intense. Can't believe she fired you. You're a legend. Videos already going viral. He opened social media. Sure enough, someone had posted the footage. Janitor stands up to billionaire CEO for his daughter. Already had 50,000 views. Great. Viral fame. That would really help pay rent. His phone rang. Unknown number. Hello. Mr. Cole. This is David Morrison from Channel 7 News. I'd like to interview you about what happened today at Vanguard Aerospace. No comment. He hung up. It rang again. Different number. Different reporter. He turned the phone off. In his bedroom, he looked at Sarah's photo. I messed up again, baby, he whispered. Lost the job. Don't know what I'm going to do. But I couldn't let her talk to Leia like that. I couldn't let our daughter think her dreams don't matter. The photo smiled at him. Silent. Understanding. He rolled up his sleeve and looked at the tattoo. Wings of Valor. The coordinates. The eagle. The shield. Maybe Marcus is right, he said to the empty room. Maybe hiding isn't helping anyone. He lay down in bed and stared at the ceiling. Tomorrow he'd start looking for a new job. Tomorrow he'd figure out how to pay rent. Tomorrow he'd deal with all of it. But tonight, his daughter was asleep down the hall, safe and warm. And that was enough. Outside, the world kept turning. The video kept spreading. And in a penthouse across town, Veronica Pierce watched the same video, her hands shaking with rage. She didn't know yet what she'd just started. She didn't know that the janitor she fired was about to change everything. And she definitely didn't know about the tattoo. The eviction notice came on Thursday morning. Ethan stood in the apartment doorway holding the paper. 72 hours to pay 3 months back rent or get out. He'd been juggling payments for weeks, always one step behind. Now the step had caught up. Dad! What's that? Leia stood behind him in her school uniform. He folded the paper quickly. Nothing, kiddo. Just junk mail. You have that look. What look? The one you get when you're worried but trying not to show it. 8 years old, and she could read him like a book. Sarah's gift. She always knew when something was wrong, too. I'm fine. Go brush your teeth. She didn't move. We're going to be okay, right? He knelt down, ignoring the protest in his knee. We're always okay. You and me. That's all that matters. I heard you on the phone last night, talking to the bank. So she'd been awake. He thought he'd been quiet. Sometimes grown-ups have boring money conversations. Nothing for you to worry about. Is it because you lost your job because of me? Stop. He took her hands. This is not because of you. None of this is your fault. You understand. But if I hadn't looked at those pictures, then that woman still would have found another reason to be cruel. That's who she is, not who you are. Leia's eyes filled with tears. I don't want us to be homeless. We won't be, I promise. How do you know? Because I've survived worse, and I always figure it out. She hugged him tight. He held her and wondered how much longer he could keep that promise. After he dropped Leia at school, Ethan spent the morning applying for jobs online. Maintenance positions, security guard openings, warehouse work, anything that paid. By noon, he'd sent 47 applications. 0 responses. His phone buzzed. Another unknown number. He let it go to voicemail. When he checked, it was the 6th reporter trying to reach him. The video had 2 million views now. Comments ranged from supportive to vicious. This man is a hero standing up for his daughter. Billionaire CEO shows her true colors. Poor people always think they deserve more than they earn. She should be ashamed treating a child like that. He closed the app. Internet opinions didn't pay rent. At 1 o'clock, someone knocked on his door. Ethan looked through the peephole. Marcus Hale stood in the hallway. Ethan opened the door. How did you find where I live? Employee records. Can I come in? I'm not an employee anymore. I know. That's why I'm here. Ethan stepped aside. Marcus walked in and looked around. The apartment was small, clean but worn. Furniture that had seen better decades. Photos of Sarah everywhere. Your wife? Marcus asked, gesturing at a frame on the bookshelf. Yeah. She was beautiful. She was everything. Marcus nodded. He understood loss. You could see it in his eyes. How are you holding up? Fine. Liar. Ethan almost smiled. Why are you here, Marcus? Because you saved lives yesterday and got fired for it. Because that video is everywhere, and Veronica Pierce is getting crucified in the media. And because I think you need to know something. What? Richard Pierce, Veronica's father. The mission that ended your career. He was one of the 17 people you saved. Ethan went still. What? The classified mission, 3 years ago. Equipment transport gone wrong over hostile territory. 17 civilian contractors trapped. You flew in alone against orders and extracted them all before the site was overrun. Richard Pierce was one of those contractors. I never knew their names. They kept it classified. Richard knew yours. He pushed for you to get the Medal of Honor. When you refused and disappeared, he tried to find you. Spent 2 years looking. Then he got sick. Cancer. He died 6 months ago, never knowing what happened to you. Ethan sat down heavily on the couch. Why are you telling me this? Because Veronica doesn't know. She has no idea the man she fired yesterday saved her father's life. And I think she needs to know. Don't. Why not? Because it doesn't matter. Her father's dead. I'm nobody. Telling her won't change anything. It might change everything. I don't want her pity. This isn't about pity. It's about truth. About showing her that the people she dismisses might be the ones who matter most. Ethan looked at Sarah's photo. What would it accomplish? Maybe nothing, maybe everything. But you deserve better than this. Marcus gestured at the eviction notice on the table. You deserve better than hiding. I'm not hiding. I'm surviving. There's a difference. Yeah, surviving means you live to fight another day. Hiding means you've given up. And which one are you doing? Ethan didn't answer. Marcus stood up. I'm going to tell her. I'm going to show her the mission records. She needs to know what kind of man she destroyed. Marcus, please. You can't stop me, but you can be there when I do it. Your choice. He left. Ethan sat alone in his apartment. The eviction notice stared at him from the table. Sarah's photo smiled from the shelf, and the tattoo on his arm burned like it was on fire. That afternoon, Ethan picked Leia up from school. She was quiet in the car. He knew that quiet. The kind that meant she was thinking too hard about things 8-year-olds shouldn't worry about. How was school? He asked. Fine. Learn anything interesting? Not really. Want to stop for ice cream? We don't have money for ice cream. I didn't ask if we had money. I asked if you wanted ice cream. She looked at him. Dad, I'm not a baby. I know things are bad. Things are temporary. Bad is permanent. We're just in between. What does that mean? It means right now is hard, but right now doesn't last forever. They stopped at the ice cream shop anyway. Ethan used the last $7 in his wallet. Leia got chocolate chip. He got nothing. You're not having any, she asked. Not hungry. You always say that when we can't afford to. I'm always not hungry when we can't afford to. She smiled a little. You're a bad liar. I know. They sat on the bench outside the shop. Leia ate her ice cream slowly, making it last. Other kids ran past with their parents. Normal families with normal problems. Dad, can I ask you something? Anything. That tattoo on your arm. The one you always cover. What is it? He'd known this question would come eventually. Why do you ask? I saw it once when you were sleeping. You pushed your sleeve up. It looked like wings. It is wings. What kind? Eagle wings, from when I was in the Air Force. Were you important? I was a pilot. But were you special? Like the pilots in movies who save people? He looked at his daughter. Her eyes were so much like Sarah's, full of hope and questions and belief that the world was better than it was. I did my job, he said quietly. Same as everyone else. Mrs. Chen said her husband was in the military. She said the people who serve are heroes. Are you a hero? No, baby. I'm just your dad. That's the same thing. Something in Ethan's chest cracked open. He pulled Leia close and held her while she finished her ice cream. When they got home, there were 3 more eviction notices taped to the door. Apparently the landlord was serious. Inside, Ethan's phone rang. Another unknown number. He answered this time expecting another reporter. Mr. Cole. A woman's voice. Professional. Cold. Yeah. This is Patricia Morgan from Vanguard Aerospace Legal Department. We need to discuss your termination. I got fired. Nothing to discuss. Actually, there is. You signed a non-disclosure agreement when you were hired. The incident yesterday, your comments about Mr. Pierce, they violate that NDA. I didn't disclose anything classified. You made defamatory statements about Ms. Pierce in front of witnesses and cameras. We're prepared to file a lawsuit for breach of contract and defamation. Ethan laughed. Actually laughed. You're going to sue me. I have $17 to my name. Good luck collecting. We can garnish wages. From what job she fired me? Future employment. We can also pursue criminal charges for trespassing. Your daughter was in a restricted area. She's 8 years old. The law doesn't care about age when it comes to corporate espionage. Corporate espionage. She looked at pictures on a wall. Pictures of classified aircraft designs. We have grounds. Ethan's hand tightened on the phone. Let me be very clear. You come after my daughter, and I will burn your company to the ground, legal or not. Understood. Silence. Then, we'll be in touch. She hung up. Ethan stood in his kitchen shaking. They were going to sue him, going to come after Leia. These people who had everything were going to destroy what little he had left because he dared to stand up to them. His phone buzzed again. A text from Marcus. Meeting with Veronica tomorrow at 10 a.m. I'm showing her the mission files. You should be there. Ethan typed back. No. You sure? I want nothing to do with her. Even if it could change things. Some things can't be changed. He put the phone down and looked at the eviction notice. 72 hours. 3 days to figure out how to keep a roof over his daughter's head. That night, after Leia went to bed, Ethan pulled out a box from his closet. Medals, commendations, photos from his Air Force days, and buried at the bottom a letter. He unfolded it carefully. The paper was yellowed. 3 years old. Dear Captain Cole, I am writing to thank you for saving my life and the lives of 16 others during the classified mission on February 14th. Your courage under fire was extraordinary. Your willingness to risk everything for strangers defines what it means to be a hero. I tried to nominate you for the Medal of Honor, but you declined. I respect your wishes, but I want you to know that you will always be a hero to me and my family. If you ever need anything, anything at all, please contact me. Sincerely, Richard Pierce. Below the signature was a phone number. Ethan had never called it. He looked at the letter for a long time. Richard Pierce, Veronica's father. The man who built Vanguard Aerospace from nothing. The man whose daughter just threatened to sue him. What would Richard think of what his daughter had become? Ethan folded the letter and put it back in the box. Some ghosts needed to stay buried. The next morning, Ethan woke up to his phone exploding with notifications. He grabbed it, squinting at the screen. The video had gone mega viral. 15 million views. News stations were covering it. Twitter was trending with hashtags. Justice for Janitor Dad. Boycott Vanguard. Billionaire bully. And then he saw the new video. Someone had leaked security footage from inside Vanguard. The engine demonstration. Ethan warning about the valve. Veronica dismissing him. The near disaster. The general's reaction. The caption read, "The same janitor she mocked and fired saved Pentagon lives hours before." The internet was on fire. Comments flooded in by the thousands. This man is a hero, and she fired him for protecting his daughter. Vanguard Aerospace needs to answer for this. Where's the mainstream media? This is a huge story. I'm a veteran and this makes me sick. Men like him deserve better. Ethan's phone rang. Marcus. "Have you seen the news?" Marcus asked. "Just did?" "It's everywhere. Every major outlet is covering it. Veronica's being destroyed. The board is calling emergency meetings. Investors are pulling out. This is huge." "I didn't want this." "I know, but it's happening anyway, which is why you need to come to this meeting. I told you no." "Ethan, listen to me. She threatened to sue you, right? To come after Leia." "How did you know that?" "Because I know how these people operate. But here's the thing. Right now, the entire world is watching. If she tries anything, it'll make things 1,000 times worse. This is your moment. Come to this meeting. Let her see who you really are. Let her understand what she's done." "And then what? She apologizes and everything's fine." "No, but maybe she learns something. Maybe she changes. And maybe you get justice." "I don't want justice. I want to feed my daughter." "Then let me help you. I have connections. I can get you interviews. Real jobs, good jobs. But first you need to stop hiding." Ethan closed his eyes. "What time is the meeting?" 10 o'clock. Vanguard Headquarters. Conference Room 7. "I'll think about it." "Don't think. Just come." Marcus hung up. Ethan sat on the edge of his bed. Sarah's photo watched him from the nightstand. "What should I do, baby?" he whispered. "What would you tell me?" The photo didn't answer, but he heard her voice in his head anyway, clear as day. "Stop hiding. Fight for our daughter." At 9:45, Ethan walked into Vanguard Aerospace through the front door. Not the side entrance, not the loading dock, the front door that executives used. Security stopped him immediately. "Sir, you can't be here. You were terminated." "I'm here for a meeting. Conference Room 7. You're not on the list." "Call Marcus Hale. He'll confirm." The guard looked skeptical but made the call. A moment later his face changed. "Go ahead. 3rd floor." Ethan took the elevator up. His knee throbbed. His heart pounded. The last time he'd been in this building he was being escorted out by security. The elevator doors opened. Marcus stood waiting. "You came." "Against my better judgment." "This is the right thing." "We'll see." They walked down the corridor. Through glass walls, Ethan could see employees watching, whispering. Some took pictures. The famous janitor was back. Conference Room 7 was at the end of the hall. Marcus opened the door. Inside, Veronica Pierce sat at the head of a long table. She looked different, tired. Her hair wasn't pulled back as tight. Her suit was wrinkled. The internet had not been kind. When she saw Ethan, her face hardened. "What is he doing here?" "He needs to hear this," Marcus said. "I don't care what he needs. I want him gone." "Sit down, Veronica. Don't tell me what to do in my own company. Your father's company. And that's what this is about." Veronica went still. "What?" Marcus pulled out a folder. He set it on the table and opened it. Inside were documents, military records, mission reports, photos. "February 14th, 3 years ago," Marcus said. "Classified military operation, equipment transport over hostile territory. The convoy was ambushed. 17 civilian contractors trapped behind enemy lines. Command refused to send rescue because the risk was too high. One pilot went anyway, against direct orders. He flew into a combat zone alone and extracted all 17 contractors. Every single one survived. Veronica stared at the documents. Why are you telling me this? Because your father was one of those 17 people. The room went silent. Veronica picked up one of the photos. It showed Richard Pierce being helped off a helicopter. His face was covered in dust and blood, but he was alive. I never knew, she whispered. Richard tried to nominate the pilot for the Medal of Honor. The pilot refused. Disappeared. Your father spent 2 years trying to find him. He wanted to thank him properly. He died never knowing what happened to him. Who was the pilot? Marcus looked at Ethan. Veronica followed his gaze. Her face went white. No. His name is Captain Ethan Cole. Valor Squadron. The same man you fired 3 days ago for protecting his daughter. The same man you threatened to sue. The same man whose child you told would never amount to anything. Veronica stood up slowly. She looked at Ethan like she was seeing a ghost. You saved my father's life. Ethan said nothing. Why didn't you tell me? Would it have mattered? Yes, of course it would have. She stopped. No, you're right. It wouldn't have. Not until now. She sat back down. Her hands were shaking. My father talked about that mission. He never said names because it was classified, but he talked about the pilot. He said it was the bravest thing he'd ever seen. He said that pilot gave him 6 more years with his family. 6 years to see me take over the company. 6 years to... Her voice cracked. I wasted those years fighting with him, telling him he was weak, telling him I'd run the company better. And now he's gone and I can't... She broke off, put her face in her hands. Marcus looked at Ethan. Ethan looked away. I need to apologize, Veronica said quietly. To you. To your daughter. To everyone. I've been so angry since my father died. Angry that he left me with this impossible job. Angry that everyone compared me to him. Angry that I could never be as good as he was. And I took it out on anyone who reminded me that I was failing. Your father was a good man, Ethan said, his first words since entering the room. He wrote me a letter after the mission, offered to help if I ever needed anything. I never called. Why not? Because I didn't want to be the hero. I just wanted to be a father, to start over, to be invisible. You succeeded. Yeah, and look where it got me. Veronica looked at the documents again, at the photos of her father, at the mission report describing Ethan's actions. What can I do? She asked. How can I make this right? You can't. There must be something. There isn't. What's done is done. I'll give you your job back, a better job. I'll make you... I don't want a job from you. Then what do you want? Ethan stood up. I want to go home. I want to figure out how to pay my rent. I want my daughter to stop crying herself to sleep because she thinks we're going to be homeless. I want to stop being a viral video and just be a dad again. He walked toward the door. Wait, Veronica said. Please. He stopped but didn't turn around. I can help with the rent, with finding you work, with... I don't need your charity. It's not charity. It's what my father would have wanted. It's what's right. What's right is you learning that people aren't disposable, that children deserve to dream, that cruelty doesn't make you strong. He turned to look at her. Your father knew that. I hope someday you will too. He left. Marcus caught up with him at the elevator. That went better than I expected. Really? Because it felt like a disaster. She knows the truth now. That's something. It's nothing. Truth doesn't pay bills. The elevator doors opened. They stepped inside. For what it's worth, Marcus said, I'm proud of you. For what? For not backing down, for standing your ground, for being exactly who your daughter needs you to be. The doors closed. Ethan leaned against the wall. He was so tired. Tired of fighting. Tired of surviving. Tired of everything. His phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Mr. Cole, this is Veronica Pierce. I'm transferring $50,000 to your account. It's not charity. It's what my father would have done. Please accept it. For your daughter. Ethan stared at the message. $50,000. More than he'd made in 2 years as a janitor. Enough to pay rent for a year. Enough to breathe. He typed back one word. No. Another buzz. Please, I'm begging you, let me do one thing right. He typed again. Fix yourself first. Then we'll talk. He put the phone away. Marcus watched him. You just turned down $50,000. Yeah. Why? Because money doesn't fix what's broken, and she needs to understand that. The elevator reached the ground floor. The doors opened. And Ethan Cole walked out of Vanguard Aerospace one more time, still broke, still unemployed, but somehow standing a little taller than before. The eviction deadline came and went. Ethan packed their belongings into garbage bags and boxes. Everything they owned fit into his 12-year-old Honda. 2 people's entire lives crammed into a trunk and back seat. Where are we going? Leia asked. She stood in the empty apartment holding her backpack and a box of her drawings. Motel for a few days, just until I figure things out. What about school? You'll still go to school, same bus stop. But the bus doesn't come to motels. I'll drive you. With what gas money? He didn't have an answer for that. She was 8 years old and doing math he couldn't solve. They drove to the cheapest motel Ethan could find. $40 a night. He had enough for 3 nights. After that, he didn't know. The room smelled like cigarettes and cleaning chemicals. 2 beds with thin blankets. A TV that only got basic channels. A bathroom with rust stains in the sink. Leia sat on one of the beds and looked around. She didn't cry. That was worse somehow. If she'd cried, he could have comforted her. But she just sat there accepting this as their new reality. It's not forever, Ethan said. I know. I'm going to fix this. I know. Leia, look at me. She did. Her eyes were dry but empty, like something inside her had shut down. We're going to be okay, he said. You keep saying that. Because it's true. Is it? We're living in a motel. You don't have a job. That lady wants to sue us. How is any of this okay? He sat down next to her. You're right. It's not okay. But it will be. I promise you. You can't promise that. Watch me. She leaned against him. I'm scared, Dad. Me too, baby. Me too. That night, Ethan lay awake staring at the water-stained ceiling. His phone sat silent on the nightstand. No job offers, no solutions. Just the sound of Leia breathing in the next bed and the highway traffic outside. At 2 a.m, his phone buzzed. A text from Marcus. Saw the news. Heard about the eviction. My guest room is empty if you need it. Ethan stared at the message. Pride told him to refuse. Logic told him to accept. He typed back. Can't accept charity. It's not charity, it's friendship. There's a difference. I barely know you. Then let's fix that. Coffee tomorrow. My treat. Just talk. No strings. Ethan looked at Leia sleeping. Her face was peaceful. She deserved better than this motel. Okay, coffee. But that's all. The next morning, Ethan met Marcus at a diner near the motel. Marcus was already there sitting in a booth with 2 coffees waiting. You look terrible, Marcus said. Thanks, that's helpful. I'm honest. It's a character flaw. Marcus pushed 1 coffee toward Ethan. Drink, then we talk. Ethan drank. The coffee was strong and hot, and exactly what he needed. I made some calls, Marcus said. Got you 3 job interviews, all aerospace companies, all legitimate positions, no charity. What kind of positions? Safety consultant, quality inspector, training coordinator. All use your skills, all pay decent. I can't work in aerospace, I'm blacklisted. Not everywhere, just Vanguard. And even that's changing. What do you mean? Marcus pulled out his phone and showed Ethan an article. Vanguard Aerospace CEO under fire after viral video. Board calls emergency session. Investors demand answers. Ethan read the headline. So the board is furious. Stock price dropped 12%. 3 major contracts are in jeopardy. They're talking about removing Veronica as CEO. That's not my problem. Isn't it? You could end this. One statement supporting her. One interview saying she apologized and you accept. The internet would calm down. Why would I do that? Because she's trying, really trying. She's been meeting with HR, reforming company policies, giving employees raises. She even started a scholarship fund for underprivileged kids interested in aerospace. Good for her. Ethan, she's changing. Because of you. Because you showed her who her father really was. Changing doesn't erase what she did. No, but it's a start. Ethan set down his coffee. You want me to save her company. I want you to give her a chance. The same chance people gave you when you crashed that plane. The same chance your wife gave you every time you came home from a mission. Everyone deserves a second chance. Some mistakes don't get second chances. Maybe, but some do. And you won't know which is which until you try. They sat in silence. Around them, the diner bustled with morning customers. Normal people with normal problems. What do you get out of this? Ethan asked. Peace of mind. I'm 70 years old. I've seen too many good people destroy each other over pride. Richard was my friend. You remind me of him. Veronica could be like him too if someone guides her. That's all I want. A world with more Richards and fewer battles. That's very philosophical. That's very exhausting. But here we are. Ethan looked at the job listings Marcus had pulled up. Real positions, real companies, real money. If I take these interviews, I'm not doing it for her. I know. And I'm not making any statements. Fair enough. And I'm still not living in your guest room. We'll see about that. The first interview was that afternoon. A safety consultant position at Horizon Aviation. Ethan wore his only suit. The pants were a little short and the jacket smelled like mothballs, but it was professional. The interviewer was a woman in her 50s named Janet. She looked at his resume with raised eyebrows. You're the janitor from the video. I was a pilot before that. And you really saved those Pentagon officials. I spotted a reversed valve. Anyone could have done it. But they didn't. You did. She set down the resume. I'm going to be honest. We need someone with your eye for detail. Someone who understands systems. But hiring you comes with baggage. The internet attention. The controversy. Can you handle that? I've handled worse. Such as, I crashed a fighter jet, lost my wife, and spent 3 years mopping floors while people walked past me like I didn't exist. I can handle some internet attention. Janet smiled. You're hired. When can you start? Ethan blinked. Just like that. Just like that. We need good people. You're good people. The rest is noise. I don't know what to say. Say yes. Yes. They shook hands. Ethan walked out of the building in a daze. He had a job. A real job. $45,000 a year. Benefits. Respect. He called Marcus. I got it. Told you. Good people recognize good people. Thank you. For the referral. For everything. Don't thank me. Thank yourself. You earned this. Ethan sat in his car and cried. Just sat there in a parking lot and let 3 years of pressure release. He cried for Sarah, for Laya, for every moment of invisible servitude, for every time someone walked past him like he was furniture. And then he wiped his face, started the car, and drove to pick up Laya from school. She was waiting at the curb when he arrived. She climbed in and looked at him. Why are your eyes red? Allergies. You're a bad liar. I got a job, kiddo. Her face transformed. Really? Really? Start Monday. Real salary, real benefits. Can we move out of the motel? We can move into an apartment. A nice one. She hugged him so hard he could barely breathe. I told you we'd be okay. You did. You were right. That weekend they moved into a small 2-bedroom apartment. Nothing fancy, but clean and safe. Leia got her own room. Ethan hung Sarah's photo on his nightstand. We made it, baby. He whispered to the picture. We're going to be okay. Monday morning, Ethan started his new job. Horizon Aviation was smaller than Vanguard, but friendlier. People said good morning, remembered his name, treated him like a person. His supervisor, Tom, gave him a tour of the facility. Your job is to spot problems before they become disasters. Use that eye for detail. Trust your instincts. If something feels wrong, speak up. Even if I'm wrong. Especially if you're wrong. Better to check and be wrong than stay quiet and be right. It was everything Vanguard wasn't. Respect, communication, value. At lunch, Ethan sat in the break room checking his phone. There was a message from an unknown number. He almost deleted it, but something made him open it. Mr. Cole, this is Veronica Pierce. I know you don't want to hear from me, but I wanted you to know that Vanguard is implementing new policies. Employee dignity standards, grievance procedures, family accommodations. Everything my father would have wanted. I'm trying to be better. I hope someday you can forgive me. Ethan stared at the message for a long time. Then he deleted it without responding. Some wounds needed time. 3 weeks passed. Ethan settled into his new job. Leia thrived in school. They found a rhythm. Not perfect, but stable. For the first time in 3 years, Ethan could breathe. Then Marcus called. Turn on the news. Why? Just do it. Ethan found a TV in the break room. The news was showing Vanguard Aerospace, fire trucks, ambulances, smoke pouring from one of the hangars. What happened? Ethan asked. Equipment fire during a test. No one hurt yet, but there's a problem. Someone's trapped inside. Ethan's stomach dropped. Who? They're not saying. But Ethan, it's Hangar 3, where the XJ-7 is stored. The same hangar where Ethan used to work, where he'd spent 3 years mopping floors and being invisible. Why are you telling me this? Because I know you, and I know you're going to want to help. I don't work there anymore. That's never stopped you before. Marcus hung up. Ethan stood frozen watching the news coverage. Emergency responders were keeping everyone back. The fire was spreading, and someone was inside. He thought about walking away, about staying at his safe job with his safe life, about being smart for once. Then he grabbed his keys and ran. The drive to Vanguard took 20 minutes. Ethan parked illegally and ran toward the facility. Security tried to stop him. Sir, you can't go in there. Someone's trapped. Fire department is handling it. Where how? What's the plan? The guard hesitated. They're trying to get through the main entrance, but the fire's too intense. There's a service entrance on the east side, through the maintenance corridor. I used to work here. That corridor might be blocked. Or it might not. You want to risk someone dying because you didn't check. The guard looked at Ethan, then at the burning hangar, then back at Ethan. Stay behind the fire line. Ethan didn't stay behind anything. He ran toward the east side of the building. The service entrance was propped open, smoke billowing out. He pulled his shirt over his mouth and went inside. The heat hit him immediately. The corridor was thick with smoke. He dropped to his knees where the air was clearer and crawled forward. His bad knee screamed. He ignored it. Hello, he shouted. Anyone here? No response. He kept moving. The corridor branched. Left went to the main hangar, right went to the offices. Where would someone be? Then he heard it. Coughing. Faint, but there. He followed the sound down the left corridor. The smoke was worse here. He could barely see 3 feet ahead. Where are you? He called. Here. A woman's voice. weak. I can't breathe. He crawled faster. His knee gave out twice. Each time he forced himself up and kept going. And then he saw her. Veronica Pierce was on the ground behind a collapsed beam. Her face was covered in soot. Blood ran from a cut on her forehead. She looked up and saw Ethan. "You," she gasped. "Yeah, me." "What are you doing here?" "Apparently saving your life again. Some people never learn." He grabbed the beam and pulled. It didn't move. He tried again, putting his full weight into it. His knee buckled, but he kept pulling. The beam shifted. 6 inches. Enough. He grabbed Veronica's arm. "Can you walk?" "I think so." "Then move." He pulled her out from under the beam. She stood wobbly, leaning on him. Together they stumbled back down the corridor. The smoke was worse now. The fire was spreading. Veronica's legs gave out. She collapsed. "Get up," Ethan said. "I can't." "You can and you will." "Leave me. Save yourself." Not an option. He pulled her arm over his shoulders and half carried, half dragged her toward the exit. Every step was agony. His knee was on fire. His lungs burned. The smoke was choking him. But he kept moving. One step, then another, then another. The exit appeared through the smoke. Blessed daylight. Fresh air. They stumbled outside and collapsed on the ground. Paramedics rushed over. Someone pulled Ethan away from Veronica. Someone else put an oxygen mask on his face. "Sir, can you hear me?" Ethan nodded. "You're going to be okay. Just breathe." He breathed. Deep, painful breaths. Around him, chaos. Firefighters spraying water. Paramedics treating Veronica. News cameras filming everything. Marcus appeared. "You absolute idiot." "Good to see you too. You could have died." "But I didn't." "Because you're too stubborn to die. Runs in the family." They loaded Veronica onto a stretcher. As they wheeled her past, she reached out and grabbed Ethan's hand. "Thank you," she whispered. He squeezed her hand once, then let go. The paramedics took her away. Ethan sat on the ground, oxygen mask on his face, watching the fire trucks work. His phone buzzed. A text from Janet at Horizon Aviation. "Saw the news. You okay?" He typed back. "Yeah. Sorry if this causes problems." "Are you kidding? My safety consultant is a genuine hero. This is the best PR we could ask for. Take the week off, paid, feel better." He smiled despite everything. Another text, this one from Laya's school. "Your daughter saw the news. She's worried. Called her. She's okay. We told her you're safe." And another from Marcus. "The guard at Vanguard entrance just told reporters you saved Veronica. It's going viral. Again." Ethan looked up at the sky. Somewhere up there, Sarah was probably laughing at him. "I know," he said to the clouds. "I can't stay out of trouble. I'm working on it." A reporter approached. "Mr. Cole, can we ask you some questions?" No comment. "You just saved the life of the woman who fired you. How does that feel?" "Tired. It feels tired." "Do you want her to apologize?" "I want to go home and hug my daughter." "One more question. Why did you go in there, after everything she did to you?" Ethan thought about that. About Richard Pierce's letter. About the coordinates on his tattoo. About 17 people who lived because one pilot refused to leave them behind. "Because that's what good people do," he said finally. "They help, even when it's hard, even when it hurts, even when the person doesn't deserve it. That's what my wife taught me. That's what I'm teaching my daughter. And that's what I'm going to keep doing until the day I die." He stood up, handed back the oxygen mask, and walked away. Behind him, cameras kept rolling. The internet kept watching. And in a hospital 3 miles away, Veronica Pierce lay in a bed breathing through an oxygen mask and cried for the first time since her father died. Ethan drove straight to Laya's school. She was waiting in the principal's office, her face pale. When she saw him, she ran. "Dad!" He caught her and held on tight. "I'm okay. I'm okay. I saw the fire on TV. They said someone went inside. I knew it was you." "How did you know?" "Because you always go inside. You can't help it." She was right. He couldn't. "I'm sorry I scared you." "Don't be sorry. Just don't die." She pulled back and looked at him. "Promise me you won't die." "I can't promise that, baby." "Yes, you can. Just promise." He looked at his daughter, 8 years old and already understanding that the world takes people away, already afraid of losing him the way she lost Sarah. "I promise I'll try my hardest to stay alive." "How's that?" "Not good enough, but I'll take it." They went home. Ethan took a shower washing off the smoke and soot. When he looked in the mirror, his left arm was burned. Not badly, but enough to hurt. The tattoo was blistered at the edges. Wings of valor marked by fire. He bandaged it and came out to find Leia making dinner. Grilled cheese sandwiches, slightly burnt. "I wanted to help," she said. "These look perfect." They ate together at their small kitchen table. The TV played news coverage on mute. Ethan's face was everywhere. The hero janitor strikes again. The man who forgives. The living saint. "They're calling you a saint," Leia said, watching the screen. "I'm not a saint." "I know. Saints don't burn grilled cheese." He laughed. Actually laughed. Fair point. His phone rang. Hospital number. "Mr. Cole, this is Dr. Patterson at Mercy General. Veronica Pierce is asking to see you." "I'm not family." "I know, but she's insisting. She says it's important." "Tell her I'll think about it." "Mr. Cole, she saved her phone from the fire just to call you. She's been asking every nurse if you're okay. I think she really needs to see you." Ethan closed his eyes. "I'll come tomorrow." "Thank you." He hung up. Leia was watching him. "That was about her, wasn't it, the mean lady?" "Yeah. Are you going to see her?" "I don't know." "Mom would have." Ethan looked at his daughter. "What?" "Mom always said forgiveness isn't for the other person, it's for you. She said holding on to anger is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die." "When did she tell you that?" "I don't remember, but I remember the words." Sarah's wisdom living on through their daughter. Ethan's throat tightened. "Mom was smarter than both of us." "I know." Leia picked up her plate. "I think you should go see her. Not because she deserves it, but because you do." 8 years old. When had she gotten so wise? That night, Ethan lay in bed staring at the ceiling. His arm throbbed. His knee ached. His lungs felt raw. But he was alive. And Veronica was alive. And somehow that mattered more than he wanted to admit. He picked up his phone and looked at the deleted messages from Veronica. All her attempts to apologize, to make things right. He'd ignored every single one. Maybe it was time to stop ignoring. The next morning, Ethan drove to the hospital. He sat in the parking lot for 10 minutes, trying to convince himself to leave. Then he got out of the car and went inside. Veronica was in a private room on the 4th floor. 2 security guards stood outside. They recognized him immediately. "Mr. Cole, she's been waiting for you." They opened the door. Veronica sat propped up in bed, oxygen tubes and her nose bandages on her arms. When she saw Ethan, her eyes filled with tears. "You came." "Yeah." "I didn't think you would." "Neither did I." He stood awkwardly by the door. She gestured at a chair. "Please, sit." He sat. They looked at each other across 3 feet of hospital room that felt like miles. "Thank you," Veronica said finally, "for saving my life." "You already thanked me." "I know, but I need to say it again, and probably 1,000 more times. Once is enough." "It's not. Nothing is enough. You saved my father's life. I treated you like garbage. You saved my life anyway. I don't understand why. Because it was the right thing to do. Most people don't do the right thing. Then most people are wrong. She laughed, then winced. Hurts to laugh. Smoke inhalation will do that. You sound like you know from experience. I do. They sat in silence. Outside, hospital sounds echoed. Footsteps, beeping machines, distant conversations. I've been doing a lot of thinking, Veronica said. Lying here with nothing to do but think. And I realized something. I became the villain in my own story. I was so afraid of being weak, like I thought my father was, that I became cruel. And cruelty isn't strength. It's just fear wearing a mask. Your father wasn't weak. I know that now. But for years I thought he was. He cared too much, gave too many second chances, let employees take advantage. I thought being hard would make the company stronger. Did it? No. It made the company afraid. And fear doesn't breed innovation. It breeds compliance. My father understood that. I didn't. So, what are you going to do about it? I'm changing everything. The policies I mentioned in those texts you deleted, I'm actually implementing them. Employee councils, fair wage reviews, family leave policies. Everything my father wanted but didn't have time to finish. Good. It's not good. It's the bare minimum. What I did to you, to your daughter, that was unforgivable. Maybe. There's no maybe. It was wrong, and I need you to know that I see that now. I see you. Not the janitor, not the hero. Just the man trying to raise his daughter and do right by the world. I see you, and I'm sorry. Ethan looked at her. Really looked. The CEO armor was gone. Just a woman in a hospital bed, broken and honest. I accept your apology, he said quietly. She started crying. Full shoulder-shaking sobs. Thank you. Thank you. But accepting your apology doesn't mean we're friends. I know. And it doesn't mean I trust you. I know. It just means I'm done being angry. For me. Not for you. She nodded, wiping her eyes. That's more than I deserve. Yeah, it is. The door opened. A nurse came in with medications. Ethan stood to leave. Wait, Veronica said. There's something else. Something I want to do. For your daughter. I told you I don't want charity. It's not charity. It's an investment. In the future. She took a breath. I'm starting a foundation. The Richard Pierce Memorial Foundation. Full scholarships for underprivileged kids who want to study aerospace engineering. Flight school. University. Everything. And I want Leia to be the first recipient. Ethan froze. What? She loves planes. She has talent. She deserves a chance. When she's old enough, when she's ready, she'll have a full scholarship. No strings. Just opportunity. Veronica. It's what my father would have wanted. It's what you deserve. And it's what I need to do to start fixing what I broke. That's too much. It's not enough, but it's a start. Ethan sat back down. His hands were shaking. You're serious. Completely. The foundation paperwork is already filed. Marcus is helping me set it up. We're working with 3 universities and 2 flight schools. We want to help 20 kids the first year, 50 the second. More after that. Why? Because my father saved lives by building planes. You saved lives by flying them. I want to save lives by creating opportunities. It's the only way I know how to honor both of you. Ethan thought about Leia, about her drawings, her questions about Bernoulli's principle, her face pressed against the glass, staring at blueprints with wonder. She'd have to earn it, he said. No free rides. She works for it or she doesn't get it. Agreed. The scholarships are merit-based, but we'll provide tutoring, mentoring support. We'll help these kids succeed, not just throw money at them. And if she decides she doesn't want aerospace, if she wants to be an artist or a teacher or anything else, Then the scholarship transfers to whatever she wants to study. The point is giving her options, giving all these kids options. Ethan looked at his hands, calloused from 3 years of janitorial work, scarred from the crash, burned from yesterday's fire. These hands had flown fighter jets and saved lives and mopped floors, and now they were shaking because someone was offering his daughter a future. "Okay," he whispered. "Okay. Tell me more about the foundation." They talked for an hour. Veronica explained the structure, the funding, the selection process. She'd thought of everything, made it real. Not just words, but action. When Ethan finally left, the sun was setting. He sat in his car and called Marcus. "She told you about the foundation," Marcus said. "You knew." "I helped her plan it. She's been working on it for 3 weeks, since the day you walked out of that conference room. This is real. She's really changing." "I told you. People can change when they want to, when they have a reason. My daughter's going to be able to go to college. More than that. She's going to be able to chase her dreams. Because of you. Because you didn't give up. Because you showed Veronica what real strength looks like." Ethan wiped his eyes. "Thank you. For everything. Thank yourself. You did this." That night, Ethan told Leia about the scholarship. She stared at him, not comprehending. "I can go to flight school. When you're older, if you work hard, if you keep your grades up. Real flight school, like real pilots. Like real pilots." She screamed. Actually screamed with joy. Then she hugged him so tight he thought his ribs would crack. "I can fly. I'm going to fly like you." "Better than me, kiddo. You're going to fly better than me." She pulled back. "Will you teach me everything you know?" "Everything. Starting tomorrow." They spent the next week in a new rhythm. Ethan worked at Horizon Aviation during the day. Evenings he taught Leia about aerodynamics using paper airplanes and YouTube videos. She absorbed everything like a sponge. "The angle of attack determines lift," she said, adjusting a paper plane's nose. "Too steep and you stall. Too shallow and you don't get enough lift." "Perfect. Now what about drag?" "Drag is the enemy. You want smooth surfaces and streamlined shapes to minimize resistance." "And thrust. Thrust overcomes drag and moves you forward. But you need balance. All 4 forces working together." She launched the plane. It sailed across the room in a perfect arc. "That's my girl," Ethan said. His phone rang. Veronica. He'd saved her number now. Progress. "Ethan, I hope I'm not calling too late." "It's fine. What's up?" "The foundation board wants to meet you. And Leia. Nothing formal. Just dinner. They want to understand who we're helping and why." "Veronica, I don't know. Please, it would mean a lot. And I think Leia would enjoy meeting some real aerospace engineers." He looked at his daughter, holding her paper airplane eyes bright with dreams. "Okay, when?" "Friday night, 7 o'clock. I'll send you the address." "We'll be there." Friday came. Ethan and Leia dressed up. She wore her best dress, the one Sarah had bought for her 6th birthday. It was getting small, but she refused to give it up. "Do I look okay?" she asked. "You look beautiful." "Will they like me?" "They'll love you." The dinner was at a nice restaurant downtown, private room in the back. When they arrived, Veronica was already there with 5 other people. All older, all professional, all smiling. "Everyone, this is Ethan Cole and his daughter Leia." "Ethan, Leia, this is the foundation board." Introductions were made. Dr. Sarah Chen, aerospace engineering professor. Colonel James Wright, retired Air Force. Angela Morrison, pilot and flight instructor. David Park, aerospace CEO. And Marcus Hale, who winked at Ethan. They sat down, ordered food. And then they started asking Leia questions. "So you want to be a pilot?" Angela asked. "More than anything," Leia said. "I want to fly like my dad." "Your dad was a fighter pilot, right?" "The best fighter pilot." Ethan felt his face heat. She's biased. I'm accurate, Leia corrected. Everyone laughed. What kind of planes do you want to fly? Colonel Wright asked. All of them, but especially the fast ones. The ones that break the sound barrier. A girl after my own heart, Angela said. I flew F-16s for 10 years. Leia's eyes went wide. Really? Really? And let me tell you something. Being a pilot isn't just about flying. It's about discipline, study, practice. Are you willing to work hard? Yes, ma'am. Even when it's boring. Even when you'd rather play with friends. My dad says anything worth having is worth working for. Your dad is right. They talked for 2 hours. About planes, about school, about dreams. Leia told them about her drawings, about her calculations of thrust ratios, about her theory on how to improve wing efficiency. The board members exchanged looks, impressed looks. This kid is special, Dr. Chen whispered to Veronica. I know, Veronica whispered back. After dinner, while Leia talked to Angela about flight school, Veronica pulled Ethan aside. She's incredible. She's Sarah's daughter, smart, determined, stubborn. She's your daughter too, brave, kind, honest. I'm just trying not to screw her up. You're not. You're giving her exactly what she needs, love, support, an example of what a good man looks like. Ethan looked at Veronica. Are you okay? Really okay? I'm getting there. Therapy helps. Facing what I did helps. Trying to be better helps. Good. I want to ask you something, and you can say no. What? Would you consider consulting for Vanguard part-time, just a few hours a week? Safety review, employee training. You'd work with Marcus. I have a job. I know, and you'd keep it. This would be extra. But Ethan, you know our systems. You know our people. You saved lives twice because you see what others miss. We need that perspective. I don't know. Think about it. No pressure. But the offer is there. They rejoined the group. Leia was showing Angela her drawings. The pilot was genuinely impressed. These are professional quality, Angela said. Have you ever thought about entering competitions? What kind of competitions? Young engineers, design challenges. There's one coming up next month, regional level. Winner gets a scholarship and a chance to visit NASA. Leia looked at Ethan. Can I? If you want to. I want to? Then yes. They left the restaurant with Leia clutching information about the competition. In the car, she chattered nonstop about designs and ideas and possibilities. Dad, I'm going to win. I'm going to win and go to NASA and see real rockets. I believe you. Do you really? I really do. She smiled and looked out the window. Mom would be proud, right? Mom would be so proud she'd burst. I wish she was here. Me too, baby. Me too. That weekend, Ethan helped Leia start her competition entry. She decided to design a more fuel-efficient wing configuration. They worked at the kitchen table, surrounded by paper and pencils and calculations. If we reduce drag here, Leia said, pointing at her sketch, we can improve fuel economy by maybe 3%. How did you calculate that? She showed him her math. It was correct. Better than correct. It was innovative. Where did you learn this? He asked. I've been watching engineering videos online and reading Dad's old textbooks. You've been reading my textbooks. They're interesting. Better than the books at school. Ethan looked at his daughter. Really looked. She wasn't just smart. She was exceptional. And she was only 8. His phone rang. Unknown number. He answered. Mr. Cole. This is Jennifer Park from Aerospace Weekly magazine. We're doing a feature on everyday heroes in the industry. Would you be willing to be interviewed? I'm not a hero. Sir, you've saved lives multiple times. You've forgiven someone who wronged you. You're raising an amazing daughter while working multiple jobs. If that's not heroic, I don't know what is. I'm just doing what anyone would do. But most people don't. That's the point. Will you talk to us? He looked at Leia, bent over her designs, her tongue sticking out in concentration. On one condition. You interview my daughter too. She's the real story. Deal. The interview happened the following week. Photographer, journalist, cameras. Leia loved every second of it. She explained her wing design with confidence and clarity, answered questions like a professional. The journalist Jennifer was impressed. How old are you again? 8. 8. When I was 8, I was playing with dolls. You're redesigning aircraft. Dolls are boring. Planes are cool. The article came out 2 weeks later. Front page. Father and daughter. A legacy of courage and dreams. Photos of Ethan and Leia working together. Quotes about forgiveness and second chances. Details about the Richard Pierce Memorial Foundation. The response was overwhelming. Letters, emails, phone calls. People wanting to donate to the foundation. Kids wanting to apply for scholarships. Schools wanting Ethan to speak. You're famous, Leia said, reading comments online. We're famous. This is about both of us. I like it. Being famous means people listen. What do you want to say? She thought about it. I want to say that it doesn't matter where you start. It matters where you're going, and that anyone can fly if someone gives them wings. Ethan pulled her close. You're going to change the world, kiddo. We're going to change it together. That night, Ethan received a text from Veronica. Saw the article. You and Leia are inspiring thousands. Thank you for giving the foundation such a beautiful face. He texted back. Thank you for giving us a future. 3 dots appeared, then disappeared, then appeared again. Finally, I'm trying to be the person my father believed I could be, the person you showed me I should be. It's hard, but it's worth it. Ethan smiled. Keep trying. That's all any of us can do. He put the phone down and looked at Sarah's photo. We're okay, baby, he whispered. We're more than okay. We're flying. The competition was 3 weeks away when Leia got sick. Just a cold at first, then a fever. Then she couldn't breathe properly. Ethan rushed her to the emergency room at 2 a.m. Pneumonia. The doctor admitted her immediately. She'll be okay, the doctor said, but she needs rest, at least a week, maybe 2. The competition? Leia whispered from the hospital bed. It's in 3 weeks. You'll miss it if you have to, Ethan said. Your health comes first. But I've worked so hard. I know, baby, but there will be other competitions. Not like this one, not with NASA. She started crying. Not dramatic sobs. Quiet, defeated tears. The kind that hurt worse because they came from giving up. Ethan held her hand. Listen to me. If you can't compete, you can't compete. But that doesn't mean you stop dreaming. That doesn't mean you stop designing. You hear me? It's not fair. No, it's not. But life rarely is. She closed her eyes. The fever made her look so small, so fragile. For a moment, Ethan saw Sarah in that hospital bed 3 years ago. The last time. The goodbye he never got to say. He squeezed Leia's hand tighter. You're going to be fine. You're going to get better. And whether you compete or not, I'm proud of you. Promise. Promise. She fell asleep. Ethan sat beside her bed and watched her breathe. Each breath was a small victory. Each moment she was alive was a gift. His phone buzzed. Veronica. Saw the news about Leia. Is she okay? Pneumonia. She'll recover. Thank God. What can I do? Nothing. Just prayers if you have them. I have them. And I have something else. The competition. I'm on the organizing committee. We can postpone Leia's entry. Give her extra time. That's not fair to the other kids. The other kids didn't spend weeks in a motel, didn't lose their mother, didn't watch their father save lives while the world ignored him. Life hasn't been fair to Leia. Let us be fair now. Ethan looked at his sleeping daughter. She'd want to compete on the same terms as everyone else. Then we'll ask her when she wakes up, but the option is there. Thank you. Ethan, she's going to be okay. She's strong, like her father. He hung up and went back to watching Leia breathe. Strong, maybe, but even strong people break sometimes. 3 days later, Leia was released from the hospital with antibiotics and strict orders to rest. Ethan took a week off work to care for her. They spent the time on the couch watching documentaries about aviation and working on her design. The competition is in 2 weeks, Leia said. Am I going to be ready? Do you want the truth? Always. Physically, probably not. Your lungs need time to heal, but your design is ready. Your presentation is ready. So maybe the question is whether you're willing to compete even if you're not at 100%. Mom competed in a marathon when she had the flu. Remember? She came in last place, but she finished. Ethan did remember. Sarah, stubborn as always, refusing to quit even when her body begged her to stop. Your mom was crazy. So am I. I'm competing. Okay. But if you feel sick, if your lungs hurt, you stop. Deal. Deal. The next week was intensive. Ethan helped Leia refine her presentation. They practiced questions judges might ask. They prepared backup explanations for every design choice. Why did you angle the winglet at 42 degrees? Ethan asked. Because 42 degrees provides optimal vortex disruption while minimizing additional weight. At 40 degrees, you don't get enough disruption. At 45, the weight penalty exceeds the aerodynamic benefit. Perfect. And if they ask why not use a split winglet design? Split winglets work better on larger aircraft. On smaller frames, the structural complexity outweighs the marginal efficiency gains. She knew her stuff. Better than kids twice her age. The day before the competition, Marcus called. How's she doing? Nervous, excited, still coughing but improving. She's going to crush this competition. I hope so. She's worked so hard. Ethan, I need to tell you something. Veronica might not be at the competition tomorrow. Why not? The board is calling for a vote. They want to remove her as CEO. Tomorrow, same time as the competition. Ethan felt his stomach drop. Why? Because change is expensive. Because treating employees well cuts into profit margins. Because the old guard wants the old ways back. But she's been doing everything right. Right doesn't always win, you know that. Ethan did know. He'd learned that lesson over and over. But knowing didn't make it easier. What's going to happen? She fights. She presents her case. The board votes. If she loses, she's out. The foundation probably dies with her tenure. Everything she's been building gone. Can I help? Actually, yes. She wants you there. As a witness. Someone who can speak to what she's accomplished. What she's become. Marcus, I can't. Leia's competition is at the same time. I know. I told Veronica that. She said she understands. That Leia comes first. But I wanted you to know the offer was there. After he hung up, Ethan sat at the kitchen table staring at nothing. 2 events, same time, both important, both potentially life-changing. Leia came out of her room with her presentation boards. I think I'm ready. You are. You're going to be amazing. You'll be there right in the front row. Wouldn't miss it for anything. But even as he said it, he thought about Veronica. About the woman who'd changed, who'd tried, who'd built something good from the ashes of her cruelty. And now she was going to lose it all, because profit mattered more than people. That night, Ethan couldn't sleep. He kept thinking about Richard Pierce's letter, about the 17 people he'd saved, about the choice between what was easy and what was right. At midnight, he made a decision. The next morning, he sat Leia down at breakfast. I need to tell you something. You're not coming to the competition. Her voice was flat, matter of fact. How did you know? Because you have that look. The one you get when you're about to do something noble and stupid. It's not stupid. Veronica needs help. So do I. I know, and I want to be there, more than anything. But Leia, if I don't show up for her, she loses everything. The foundation, the scholarships, everything we've been working toward. And if you don't show up for me, you'll still compete, you'll still be brilliant, and you'll know that your dad chose to help someone who needed it. Leia looked at her cereal. This is because of what I said, isn't it, about Mom and forgiveness? Partly. But mostly it's because it's the right thing. I hate the right thing sometimes. Me too, kiddo. Me too. She was quiet for a long moment. Then she looked up. Go. Help her. But you have to promise me something. Anything. You have to tell me everything. Every detail of my competition. Someone has to record it so you can watch later. Angela already offered. She'll film the whole thing and sit in the front row for me. Okay, then go. Save the day. Again. He pulled her into a hug. I'm so proud of you. I know. Now go before I change my mind and make you stay. The Vanguard board meeting was at 9. Ethan arrived at 8:45 wearing his only suit. Security let him through without question. Everyone knew who he was now. Marcus met him in the lobby. You came. Where else would I be? At your daughter's competition. Angela's there, recording everything. Leia understands. Does she? She's 8. She understands that sometimes being a good person means making hard choices. They rode the elevator to the executive floor. Through glass walls, Ethan could see the boardroom. 12 people seated around a long table. Veronica at the head looking small and tired. When she saw Ethan, her face transformed. Relief, gratitude, hope. You shouldn't be here, she said when he entered. Yeah, I get that a lot. Leia's competition is being recorded. She told me to come help you, so here I am. The board chairman, a man in his 70s named Whitmore, cleared his throat. Mr. Cole, we weren't expecting you. Ms. Pierce asked me to be here, as a witness to her character. Her character isn't in question. Her judgment is. Then let's talk about judgment. Ethan moved to the front of the room. 12 sets of eyes watched him, some curious, some hostile, all waiting. 6 months ago, this woman humiliated me in front of my daughter, told an 8-year-old girl that her dreams were worthless, fired me for standing up to her. I had every reason to hate her, to want her to fail. And yet you're here defending her, Whitmore said. Why? Because people can change. Because she did change. Because in the months since that day, she's implemented policies that protect workers, created scholarships for kids who need them, built a foundation that's going to help hundreds of families. She's become the leader her father believed she could be. At what cost? Another board member asked. Profits are down 8%. Efficiency is down 12%. She's making us soft. No, she's making you human. There's a difference. Human doesn't pay dividends. Neither do lawsuits. Neither do strikes. Neither does the public relations nightmare of being known as the company that crushes people. You want to talk numbers? Let's talk about the $18 million in contracts you almost lost when that video went viral. Let's talk about the recruiting crisis you had when no one wanted to work for a company that treats employees like garbage. Veronica fixed that. She saved this company by making it a place people actually want to work. Whitmore leaned back. You make a compelling argument, Mr. Cole, but the bottom line matters. Of course it does. But so do people. Richard Pierce built this company on the idea that you could have both. Profits and principles. Success and soul. Veronica is trying to honor that legacy. And you want to fire her for it? We want stability. You want comfort. There's a difference. Stability means building something that lasts. Comfort means avoiding anything hard. What Veronica is doing is hard. But it's right. And if you fire her, you're telling everyone in this company and everyone watching that right doesn't matter. Only easy matters. The room was silent. Ethan looked at each board member in turn. I saved 17 people 3 years ago. One of them was Richard Pierce. He wrote me a letter thanking me. Told me that if I ever needed anything to call. I never did. But I'm calling now. On behalf of his daughter. Give her a chance to finish what her father started. Give her time to prove that doing good and doing well aren't mutually exclusive. He stepped back. Veronica was crying silently. Marcus smiled. Whitmore looked at the other board members. We'll vote. All in favor of retaining Veronica Pierce as CEO. 5 hands went up, then 6, then 7. 8 votes, 2/3 majority. Motion carries. Ms. Pierce, you remain CEO, but we'll be monitoring the numbers closely. Thank you, Veronica whispered. Thank you. The meeting ended. Board members filed out. Some shook Ethan's hand, others ignored him. But it didn't matter. They'd voted to keep her. When the room was empty except for Ethan Veronica and Marcus Veronica collapsed into a chair. I can't believe you came. Neither can I. Your daughter's competition. Ethan's phone rang. Angela. You're on speaker, Ethan said. What happened? She won. Ethan Laya won first place. The judges said her design was the most innovative they'd seen from someone her age. She's going to NASA next month. Ethan's knees went weak. She won. She destroyed the competition, and she did it while coughing through half her presentation. Kid's a warrior. Can I talk to her? Hold on. Rustling sounds. Then Leia's voice breathless and excited. Dad, I won. I actually won. I'm so proud of you, baby. So incredibly proud. I wish you were here. Me too. But Angela filmed everything. I'll watch it tonight and we'll celebrate. Did you help the mean lady? Ethan looked at Veronica. Yeah, I did. Good. Mom would be proud of that too. His throat tightened. I love you, kiddo. I love you too. Now come home so we can celebrate properly. He hung up. Veronica was staring at him. She won. She won. And you missed it, because you were here, helping me. Yeah. Why? Because watching that video tonight with her will be just as good. Because teaching her that helping others matters more than personal glory is more important than being there in person. Because that's what being a father means. Making hard choices and hoping you made the right one. Veronica stood up and hugged him. Not a professional hug, a real one. Thank you for everything, for showing me who I could be, for giving me a second chance, for believing I could change. You did change. That's all you. No, it started with you, with your daughter, with that moment in the hallway when you stood up to me. That's when I realized I'd become a monster. You weren't a monster. You were hurt and scared and trying to be strong in all the wrong ways. My father would have liked you. I liked him, the one time we met. She pulled back. I want to do something. For Laya. For winning. She already has the scholarship. Not that. Something else. Something special. Veronica smiled. How would she like to visit Vanguard, to see the XJ-7 up close, to sit in the cockpit? She'd lose her mind. Then let's make it happen. Next week. Private tour. You, her, Marcus, and me. No cameras. No press. Just a girl and her dream. Ethan felt tears building. That would mean everything to her. Then it's done. That night, Ethan watched the competition video with Leia. She sat next to him on the couch, her first-place medal around her neck, talking through every moment. And then the judge asked about structural integrity, and I told him about the carbon fiber composite, and he looked so impressed, Dad. You should have seen his face. I'm seeing your face. That's better. No, it's not. You should have been there. I know. I'm sorry. She leaned against him. It's okay. I mean, it's not okay. But I understand. You were helping someone. That matters. You matter more. I know. But other people matter too. Mom always said that. She said we're all connected, that helping one person helps everyone. Your mom was very wise. I miss her. Me too. They watched the rest of the video in silence. When it ended, Leia looked up at him. Dad, can I ask you something? Anything. Your tattoo, the Wings of Valor. What do the coordinates mean? He'd been waiting for this question for years. They're the location of my last mission, the one that ended my career. The one where you saved those 17 people. Yeah. Including Veronica's dad. Yeah. So you've been carrying them with you this whole time, the people you saved. He looked at his arm. The tattoo was faded now, scarred from the fire, but still there, still visible. I guess I have. That's beautiful, Dad. You're like carrying their lives with you wherever you go. I never thought of it that way. Well, now you should, because it means you're never alone. All those people you saved, they're always with you, and so is Mom, and so am I. He pulled her close. How did you get so smart? I learned from the best. The next week, Ethan, Leia, Marcus, and Veronica stood in Hangar 3. The XJ7 gleamed behind its glass case, but today the case was open. Go ahead, Veronica said to Leia. You can touch it. Leia approached slowly, reverently. She reached out and placed her hand on the wing. Her eyes filled with wonder. It's so smooth. Carbon fiber composite, Ethan said. Same material you used in your design. Can I really sit in the cockpit? That's why we're here. They helped her climb up. She settled into the pilot's seat, her feet not quite reaching the pedals, her hands gripping the controls. How does it feel? Veronica asked. Like home, Leia whispered. Like I was born to be here. Ethan took a photo. His daughter in a fighter jet cockpit. 8 years old and already flying. Someday, Leia said, someday I'm going to fly one of these for real. I believe you, Veronica said. And when you do, I'll be in the front row watching. They spent an hour in the hangar. Leia asked a million questions, touched every surface, memorized every gauge. This was more than a tour. This was a promise, a vision of her future. When they finally left, Leia held Ethan's hand. Best day ever. Better than winning the competition. Different, but equally good. That evening, Ethan received a call from a number he didn't recognize. He answered. Captain Cole. A man's voice, official sounding. This is Ethan Cole. This is General Matthews from the Pentagon. We met briefly during the Vanguard demonstration. I remember, sir. I'm calling because we have a proposition. The Air Force is looking for civilian consultants, people with real-world experience and perspective. Your name came up, repeatedly. Sir, I'm medically discharged. I can't fly. We don't need you to fly. We need you to teach, to review, to help train the next generation. The pay is substantial, the schedule is flexible, and you'd be serving your country again. Ethan looked at Leia reading a book on the couch, then at Sarah's photo on the mantel. Can I think about it? Of course. But Captain Cole, the Air Force, doesn't forget its heroes. We'd be honored to have you back, in whatever capacity you're comfortable with. After he hung up, Marcus called. You heard? About the Pentagon job. Yeah. Did you have something to do with that? I may have made a recommendation. Or 12. Marcus. Listen, you've spent 3 years hiding, being invisible. Don't you think it's time to stop hiding and start living? Ethan looked at his tattoo, Wings of Valor, the coordinates, the reminder of who he used to be. Maybe Marcus was right. Maybe it was time to stop hiding, not because hiding was shameful, but because living was better. "I'll take the job," Ethan said. "On one condition." "What's that?" "I want to help train the scholarship kids, the ones from the foundation. I want to be part of building their futures." "Done. Veronica will love that." 6 months later, the Richard Pierce Memorial Foundation officially launched. 20 kids received full scholarships. Leia was there presenting her NASA experience to the crowd, inspiring the next generation. Veronica gave a speech about her father, about redemption, about second chances. "My father built this company on the belief that everyone deserves opportunity. I almost destroyed that legacy, but someone showed me the way back. Someone who had every reason to hate me but chose forgiveness instead." Ethan Cole reminded me that strength isn't about power, it's about service, and I'm grateful every day for that lesson. After the ceremony, Ethan stood with Leia, Marcus, and Veronica watching the scholarship kids explore the facility. "We did it," Veronica said. "We really did it." "You did it," Ethan corrected. "This was your vision." "It was my father's vision. I'm just finally smart enough to see it." Leia tugged Ethan's sleeve. "Dad, look." She pointed at a young girl maybe 6 years old staring at the XJ7 with the same wonder Leia had shown. "That was me," Leia said. "That's every kid who dreams of flying. And now they all have a chance," Ethan said. "Because of this foundation. Because people decided to help." Marcus put his hand on Ethan's shoulder. "Your wife would be proud. Of all of this. Of who you've become." "I'm just trying to honor her, to teach Leia what she taught me. That kindness matters, that people matter, that falling doesn't mean you stop flying." Veronica smiled. "Your tattoo, Wings of Valor. I finally understand what it means." "What's that?" "It means you never stopped flying. Even when you were on the ground, even when you were invisible. You were still lifting others up, still giving people wings. That's what valor really is." Ethan looked at his daughter, at the kids exploring the hangar, at the future they were building together. "My father used to say something," Veronica continued. "He said the measure of a person isn't how high they fly. It's how many people they bring with them. You brought me with you, Ethan. When I was falling, you caught me, and now we're flying together." "We all are," Marcus added. "That's the point. No one flies alone." As the sun set through the hangar windows, Ethan watched Leia explain aerodynamics to the younger scholarship recipients. His daughter, a teacher already, a leader, a dreamer. He touched his tattoo, the wings, the coordinates, the reminder of 17 lives saved. But now it meant more. It meant Sarah. It meant Leia. It meant every person he'd helped, every life he'd touched. Wings of Valor. Not just what he'd earned, what he'd become. That night back in their apartment, Leia climbed into bed with her NASA certificate framed on the wall. "Dad?" "Yeah, kiddo." "Do you think Mom knows about everything we've done?" Ethan looked at Sarah's photo. "I think she knows. And I think she's proud. I'm proud too, of you, for not giving up, for helping people even when it was hard. I learned that from her, and now you're learning it too." "Good. Because when I'm a pilot, I want to be like you. I want to save people. I want to give them wings." "You already do, baby. Every day." She smiled and closed her eyes. "Love you, Dad." "Love you too." He turned off the light and stood in the doorway watching her sleep. This little person who'd survived so much, who'd never stopped dreaming, who'd taught him that falling wasn't the end, just the beginning of learning to fly differently. Outside, the world continued. But in this small apartment with his daughter sleeping and his wife watching from memory, Ethan Cole finally felt something he hadn't felt in years: peace. He'd fallen from the sky once, lost everything that mattered, became invisible. But he'd climbed back, not alone, never alone, with Marcus guiding, with Veronica changing, with Laya believing. And now they were all flying together, building something bigger than themselves, creating opportunities where none existed, giving wings to those who'd never dreamed they could soar. That's what Wings of Valor really meant, not just surviving the fall, but teaching others to fly.